Hi everyone. Had a friend of mine rang me up and said, Tim, can you take a look at my Sansui 9090? Like an idiot, I said, yeah, of course I can. So figured I'd have a look. And all it is, the internal illumination isn't working. The rest of it sounds great, works as expected. Very, very loud. Very impressed with the overall quality of the build. So let's crack it on open and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, I've gone ahead and taken the lid off. Let's power it back on. Now we've got a view from the inside. And the first thing we notice, no lights. We've got 2 meters up here. A row of lights that get selected depending on the position of the selector switch, and we'll come to that in just a moment. First thing you notice with a 20 plus kilo receiver, this one was built in November 75, is the rather large ass transformer, and that is an absolute beast. Let's take you through what I've done, part of the debugging process. Hope the camera holds up. Okay. Okay, so obviously you've got the mains voltage coming into the primaries. This is on the extreme left hand side. Secondaries come out on the right hand side, and there's an additional pair of brown wires which should be coming out the top here, but for some reason the transformer manufacturer decided, well, let's bring them out elsewhere. So yeah, thanks for that, guys. And okay, they meet the main power board. Okay, there's a shed load of fuses down there. Interestingly enough, the winding is 6.3 volts. There's no rectification involved with the lighting circuit. It's filament lamps, so no worries. If you want to go ahead and install LEDs with a suitable dropper resistor, that's fine. We'll cover that in a minute. What else we got here? I've already taken off the protective cover, sits across the top. The caps are still charged, so I'm not going to get too hands on. Okay, but I will show you exactly the location. Now, on the front panel, you have a selector switch, which allows you to obviously select whichever function you want in terms of phono, FM, Dolby if it's fitted, or Dolby adapter, AM and AUX. Okay, so signals come in on the back panel there. All the antenna ports across the top. You then have, and let's see if I can get a close-up shot. You have the selector switch, one of the selector switches down there. You can see that operating. That's for the take play, bi-directional and what have you. And a little bit further in, if I just readjust the camera, you'll be able to see the culprit. Okay. Now it does look a little bit messy. I haven't finished tidying up. Now you'll notice this small harness coming off of the top of the drive, one of the driver boards up here, all the way up here, comes down on this loom. Well, the thing is, the illumination drive, the voltage, comes down here through a fuse, normally fuse 03, according to the service manual, but it's not on this one. So you've got secondaries going in through the fuse, and then you have a set of wires on this one. It does seem as if somebody's been in here before me, and what they've done is hardwired the 2 front panel lights, which are down under here. So we have at the moment no meter lights, and interestingly enough, I do have some photos. I'll link them in. They are, let's drag one of these out, and that's what they are. These are 6 volt, 320 mil, or milliamp, shall I say. They're standard sort of about 27, 28 mil long by the looks of them. They can be difficult to find, but we will discuss LEDs in a moment, and I'll show you a little trick. Anyway, let's go on with the wire mod. Let's change angle. Now, there was a chap on the a frequently asked question there was a frequently asked questions section on Audio Karma, and they said, well, what you can do, and looking at the service manual, it's reasonably easy. Now, you'll notice that I had no illumination. Okay, so let me just switch it on. That's now on. Turn it up. Okay, we'll turn that off. We'll go back down to the plug. Now, there's several bundles down here. Obviously, make sure it's unplugged. Make sure the caps are discharged before working on any part of anything that plugs into the mains. Now then, these two pop out. You take the one with the 4 wires, and you should have a spare gap. Okay, so you have a feed, negative voltage return. Okay, all you do, it's very fine, it's about 1/2 mil. Okay, my screwdriver tip. I'm just going to place that on the blade, apply a little bit of pressure, it says, and it pulls out. Place it on the other side next to the black. Make sure that it's pushed fully home. Okay, and reconnect. Now, it's a little bit fiddly. There's not a lot of room down there, so you'll have to excuse the otherwise poor camera shot. Let's get in there, you bugger. Okay, so that's the red wire. Okay, position's been changed. Camera in the front. Flick it on. Well, hey, there we are.
Family, so you might fancy getting a team together, maybe of some friends or work colleagues or family members, and you can get the details for It's a Knockout in a few weekends' time.
Lovely. That's that little problem fixed. Shot from underneath, it does look a little bit charred up in its top left corner, so somebody has been here before. So, I don't know what else I'm going to find in here, I really don't. Still, we shall find out. Okay, this is the rear of the main fuse board, if you want to call it a fuse board, power distribution board. Anyway, these 2 wires, this pair here, is on my model, is responsible for supplying the power to the board, which runs the illumination to the front panel. Now, there is voltage across this, there's 6 volts when it's plugged in and when it's switched on. So something not quite right somewhere, because this other pair, these go up to the main selector. I'll just raise the camera up a little. Modern technology for you. Okay, so if we have a look on here, we'll be able to make out. Okay, now this is where the selector switch comes through. Okay, and again, that's the selector for FM or AM, and etc, phono, auxiliary. Interestingly enough, the power is tapped off using the red and white. Okay, so straight off the back of the board, just soldered straight on there. Interestingly enough, there's no binding post, no solder post, nothing on the other side, actually on the component side. So yeah, go figure. So at the top here, it's obviously supplying the power. Let's move that cap over. Supplying the power, goes into the centre pin on the first wafer of the selector switch. Obviously, as you rotate the selector switch, the feed pin will mate up with a different pin, current will flow, and obviously it should then illuminate the appropriate illuminated lamp on the front to indicate what position the switch is in. No big deal, it's purely aesthetic. A friend of mine, not too worried about the you know, he knows what mode it's in. He was more interested in getting the front panel illumination sorted out, so figured we'd crack that. And because we're short on time, there's not a lot else I can do. You'll notice quite a bit of it's looking a bit crappy on the board. Before I box it up totally, I will get round to giving that a clean off. These do tend to keep their value quite well. They sound absolutely great, and well, they're heavy. Look at that, Nippon Chemicals. No cheap ass one hung lows in here. And back down. That's a speaker selection board, speaker protection relays just on the other side here. And interestingly enough, the red wire from the fuse board does come in to supply the relay. So if that goes tits up, you know where to start looking. Anyway, whilst we touched on the subject of cleaning, I actually use a fast drying contact cleaner. It is suitable, it is approved for use on electrical equipment and contacts and PCB materials. I do also use, because I did go over the selector switch. Okay, reflowed that as was suggested by some of the guys on the Audio Karma website. So thanks for the tips, guys. So yeah, what else do I use? Biomethanol. That can be quite handy. Obviously, don't get it in a position where it's going to ignite. And yeah, just going around making sure everything's in place. Everything's back to where it should be. So hopefully then all I have to do is switch on and there's no external antenna as such.
That's Duke Dumont on Wessex FM and the latest on the roads from Oliver.
It does tune up nice.
We've got a really good song from Queen to play next.
It's just a case of getting the other function lights working that show auxiliary AM, FM and phono. That is going to be for another day. Like I said previously, I too many time constraints, but it's working a little bit better than it was a few days ago. So hopefully for the meantime, that should do. Alright, thanks guys. Yeah, don't believe everything that you find in a service manual. They do change things. Allow me to demonstrate. Okay, there's your mains input at the top. Comes through the switch, which is located on the front panel. A couple of smoothing caps. There's your main fuse. Into the primary. Out the secondary. You've got two ground wires there, giving out the 6.1 volt 6 volt is close enough, and lo and behold, fuse 03. Well, unfortunately on my model it's not fuse 03 whatsoever. In fact, fuse number 3 just happens to be a piece of what looks like reasonably low quality tin wire, just stretched across where the footprint for the fuse holder should be. But then obviously we just follow on the schematic, follow that line there, it disappears off there to the meter lamps. Dum, dum, dum. And eventually pops up on pin 16. Sorry, 15, into the selector switch arrangement. Okay, and you can see there as it comes on in. Okay, so it joins up on that wafer, and that one to direct the power to the appropriate lamp when it's switched in circuit. But it's been fun working on it, but it's been a major headache. So many differences, so many different variations, and even the service manual doesn't list it all. So, well, what can I say? Good old-fashioned do-it-yourself, work it out yourself approach. Go through it logically, you'll be fine. Don't be afraid of it. Just mind your fingers when you're poking around those near to those caps. Yeah, other than that, that'll do nicely. Have fun, guys.